In April 1943, a fishing boat off the coast of Spain pulled a dead body out of the water. In his hand was a briefcase, chained to his wrist. Inside that briefcase were secret British war plans. It looked like the unluckiest accident of the war. It was not an accident. There was no accident at all. The man was not even a soldier. He had never fought in a single battle. And yet this dead man, who did not even know his own fake name, would go on to help change the outcome of World War II. This is the true story of Operation Mincemeat. To understand why the British needed a dead man to fool an entire army, we need to go back further. By 1943, World War II had been raging for nearly 4 years. Nazi Germany controlled most of Europe. The Allies, Britain, the United States, and their partners needed a way in, a place to land troops on European soil and begin pushing the Nazis back. The obvious target was Sicily, an island off the coast of Italy. It was close, it was weak, and everyone knew it. That was the problem. Winston Churchill himself supposedly joked that anyone who could read a map would know the Allies were going to invade Sicily. So British intelligence faced an impossible question. How do you hide the obvious? The answer came from two unlikely men working inside British intelligence. One was Ewan Montagu, a naval officer and lawyer with a sharp, careful mind. The other was Charles Cholmondeley, an eccentric Royal Air Force officer known for unusual ideas. Together they belonged to a secretive group nicknamed the 20 Committee, tasked with feeding false information to German spies. Their plan was almost absurd. Create a fake officer, give him a fake identity, a fake love life, fake debts, fake letters. Then let the Nazis find him dead, carrying documents that would send their armies in the wrong direction. On paper, it sounded like fiction. But if it worked, it could save thousands of lives. The plan needed a body, but not just any body. It had to look like a man who had drowned after a plane crash at sea. Eventually, the team found the body of Glyndwr Michael, a homeless man from Wales who had died after ingesting rat poison, likely by accident, with no family to claim him. In death, he was given a new purpose and a new name: Major William Martin, Royal Marines. It feels uncomfortable to say out loud. A man with no one to speak for him became the centerpiece of one of the greatest deceptions in military history. For the deception to work, Major William Martin needed to feel real. So the British built him an entire life on paper. Love letters from a fiancée named Pam, actually written by a young woman working in the office. A photo of her tucked in his coat. An angry letter from a bank about an overdraft. Theater ticket stubs. A receipt for a ring, as if he had just bought an engagement gift. Every tiny detail was designed for one purpose. If a stranger searched this man's pockets, they would believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that he was real. Chained to the man's wrist was the real prize, a leather briefcase containing letters between British generals. The letters strongly suggested the real invasion target was Greece, with Sicily mentioned only as a decoy. It was a lie hidden inside a lie, wrapped in the most convincing packaging the British could invent, a dead body that looked like an accident. On April the 19th, 1943, the body of Major William Martin was placed into a specially built canister and loaded onto a British submarine, HMS Seraph. For days, the submarine sailed quietly beneath the Atlantic toward the coast of Spain. Spain was neutral in the war, but only on paper. In truth, its government had deep sympathies with Nazi Germany, and Spanish officials were known to quietly share information with German intelligence. That made it the perfect place, a country close enough to Britain to be believable and friendly enough with Germany to guarantee the documents would find their way to the right eyes. Just before dawn on April the 30th, 1943, the submarine surfaced off the coast of Huelva, Spain. The crew, most of whom did not know the true purpose of their mission, released the body into the sea, letting the current carry it toward the shore. Within hours, a local fisherman found it, exactly as planned. The trap was set. Now the British could only wait and hope the Spanish authorities, and by extension the Germans, would take the bait. Spanish authorities recovered the body, and as expected, its documents were quietly examined before being returned to the British. But copies had already been made. German intelligence, the Abwehr, got word of the secret papers and moved quickly to obtain the details. To the Germans, this was an intelligence goldmine, a British officer's briefcase washed ashore by pure chance, revealing the Allies' next move. They had no reason to suspect a trick. Why would anyone fake something so elaborate, so tragic, so specific? That very complexity was what made the lie so convincing. The false documents made their way to the highest levels of the German High Command and eventually to Adolf Hitler himself. Convinced the Allies intended to strike Greece and the Balkans, Hitler ordered reinforcements diverted away from Sicily. German troops, tanks, and defenses shifted toward Greece, leaving Sicily far less protected than it should have been. The lie had worked better than the British ever dared hope. On July the 9th, 1943, the real Allied invasion began, not in Greece, but exactly where German generals had originally feared, Sicily. Thanks to the deception, Allied forces landed against far weaker resistance than expected. Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily, succeeded with fewer casualties than military planners had feared, opening the door for the Allied campaign into Italy and marking a turning point in the war in Europe. Major William Martin never existed. Glyndor Michael, the real man beneath the disguise, had lived a hard and largely forgotten life, and in death became part of a plan he could never have imagined. Decades later, his grave in Spain was updated with a small line acknowledging his true identity, a quiet tribute to the man whose final journey helped shape history. Operation Mincemeat succeeded because it was built on something deeper than paperwork. It was built on human nature, our instinct to believe what feels personal, tragic, and real. A love letter, a bank statement, a ring receipt, these small human details made an impossible lie feel undeniably true. It remains one of history's most audacious deception operations, not because of clever gadgets or dramatic chases, but because a small team of ordinary people understood something simple. The best lies are not told, they are lived.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.